Most men believe attraction is about saying the perfect line. They think if they are clever enough, funny enough, or impressive enough, a woman will naturally feel drawn to them. Some believe it comes from money, others believe it comes from looks, and many spend hours searching for the right words to say so they can stand out from the crowd. But what if the real secret to attraction is much simpler than that? What if the men who create the deepest connection are not the ones trying the hardest to impress, but the ones who simply speak with clarity and sincerity? Over the years, I have noticed something fascinating. The men who stay in a woman's mind long after a conversation ends are not always the most handsome or the most successful. Instead, they are the ones who know how to express their feelings in a calm, honest, and confident way. And surprisingly, it often comes down to just two simple words. These two words have the power to create emotional connection, build trust, and make a woman feel both safe and valued at the same time. They are simple, natural, and incredibly powerful when used with the right intention. In today's conversation, we are going to explore what those two words are, why they work so well on a psychological level, and how using them the right way can completely change the way you connect with women. And once you understand this small but powerful shift, you may start to notice that meaningful connection becomes much easier than you ever imagined.
As people grow older, the way they experience attraction begins to change in quiet but important ways. What once felt exciting in youth may no longer feel meaningful later in life. In younger years, attraction is often driven by novelty, excitement, and the thrill of something new. People may be drawn to charm, appearance, or dramatic gestures. But maturity brings a different perspective. With life experience comes a deeper understanding of what truly matters in relationships. Many women, especially in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, have already experienced relationships where words sounded beautiful but lacked sincerity. They may have heard many compliments, promises, and romantic expressions over the years. Because of this, they learn to look past surface-level charm. What becomes far more attractive over time is emotional stability. Mature women often value qualities such as honesty, calmness, and clarity. They want to feel comfortable around someone. They want to know that the person in front of them understands his own feelings and can communicate them in a genuine way. Drama and confusion become less appealing, while emotional steadiness becomes far more attractive. This is where something called emotional leadership begins to matter. Emotional leadership simply means being the kind of person who creates a calm and safe emotional space. Instead of trying to impress or perform, a man who leads emotionally speaks with clarity, listens with patience, and expresses his feelings honestly. When a woman senses that kind of grounded presence, something shifts inside her. She begins to relax. She feels safe enough to open up and share more of herself. And very often, this deeper connection begins with something surprisingly simple, the way a man expresses what he wants and what he truly appreciates. Let's begin with the first word that has the power to change how a woman perceives you. That word is want. At first glance, it may sound almost too simple, but when used with sincerity and clarity, the phrase "I want" communicates something very important about a man's character. It shows that he understands his own feelings and is not afraid to express them openly. Many men struggle with this. They worry that expressing what they want might make them seem pushy or demanding. So instead, they try to be overly agreeable. They constantly say things like, "Whatever you prefer is fine with me," or "I don't mind, you can decide." While this may seem polite on the surface, it can sometimes create the opposite effect. When a man avoids expressing his own desires, the conversation begins to feel directionless. The woman may feel like she has to lead every decision, which can quietly reduce the sense of attraction. On the other hand, when a man calmly expresses what he wants, it communicates confidence and clarity. For example, imagine the difference between these two statements. The first one sounds uncertain. "I'm not sure. What would you like to do tonight?" The second one feels clear and grounded. "I want to go for a quiet walk after dinner. It feels like a nice way to end the evening." Notice how the second statement creates a sense of direction. It shows that the man is comfortable sharing his preferences without pressure or hesitation. Expressing what you want is not about controlling the situation or ignoring the other person's feelings. Instead, it is about being honest and present. When you express your desires in a calm and respectful way, it tells the other person that you are emotionally secure. And emotional security is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. But there is an important balance here. If a man only talks about what he wants, the conversation can start to feel one-sided. That is why the second word is just as powerful. And when these two words are used together, the connection becomes much deeper. Now let's talk about the second word, and this is where the real emotional connection begins to grow. That word is appreciate. While expressing what you want shows confidence and direction, expressing appreciation shows emotional awareness and kindness. When these two qualities appear together, they create a powerful balance that naturally attracts people. One of the deepest emotional needs every person has is the desire to feel seen and valued. Many women receive compliments about their appearance throughout their lives. People might say things like, "You look beautiful," or "That dress looks great on you." While those compliments are pleasant, they often stay on the surface. True appreciation goes much deeper. Instead of focusing only on how someone looks, appreciation highlights who they are as a person. It recognizes their character, their values, and the small qualities that make them unique. For example, instead of saying something simple like, "You're nice," you might say something more meaningful, such as, "I appreciate how calm you stay even when things become stressful." Or, "I appreciate the way you listen so carefully. It makes conversations feel easy and natural." Statements like these show that you are paying attention. They show that you are not just hearing someone's words, but actually noticing their personality and their actions. When someone feels truly appreciated, it creates a sense of emotional warmth and trust. The other person begins to feel comfortable opening up and sharing more about themselves. Psychologists often explain that appreciation helps create feelings of connection because it signals respect and understanding. It tells the other person that they matter, not just because of how they appear, but because of who they are. And when appreciation is sincere and specific, it can leave a lasting impression that goes far beyond ordinary compliments. But the real power appears when desire and appreciation are expressed together.
Now that we have explored the two words separately, it becomes clear that their real power appears when they are used together. When a man expresses both what he wants and what he appreciates, he creates a balance that feels both strong and kind at the same time. Many conversations fail to create a lasting impression because they lack this balance. Some people speak only about what they want, which can make them appear self-focused. Others only give compliments or praise, which may sound pleasant but can sometimes feel vague or overly polite. But when these two ideas are combined, something very different happens. Imagine ending a conversation by saying something uncertain like, "Maybe we can meet again sometime." While polite, it feels hesitant and unclear. Now compare that with a statement that includes both desire and appreciation. "I want to see you again. I really appreciate how comfortable our conversation felt tonight." Notice the difference. The first statement leaves things open and uncertain. The second statement feels clear, sincere, and emotionally present. This combination creates what psychologists sometimes call an emotional anchor. When someone experiences a moment where they feel both desired and valued, the brain tends to remember that feeling strongly. The person begins to associate the warmth of that moment with the individual who created it. Over time, these small moments of clarity and appreciation build a deeper emotional connection. It is not about dramatic gestures or complicated words. In fact, the simplicity of the message is part of its strength. A calm voice, a clear intention, and genuine appreciation can make a conversation feel meaningful in a way that long speeches never could. But there is one important detail that determines whether these words truly connect with someone or simply pass by unnoticed. And that detail is authenticity. While the words "I want" and "I appreciate" are powerful, their true impact depends on something even more important: Authenticity. Words alone are never enough if they are not supported by genuine feeling. People are remarkably good at sensing when someone is being sincere and when someone is simply repeating phrases that sound nice. Tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language all send signals that reveal whether a message is truly coming from the heart. This is why authenticity matters so much. If a man says, "I want to see you again," but avoids eye contact or speaks nervously, the message may feel uncertain. On the other hand, when those words are spoken calmly, with steady eye contact and a relaxed tone, they feel honest and grounded. The same is true for appreciation. Saying, "I appreciate you" quickly or without real thought can sound routine. But when appreciation is expressed slowly and sincerely, it carries emotional weight. Psychologists often refer to this as congruence. Congruence simply means that your words, your voice, and your body language all align with each other. When everything matches, the message feels authentic and trustworthy. A simple way to practice this is to slow down when you speak. Take a small pause before expressing appreciation. Maintain comfortable eye contact and allow your tone to remain calm and steady. Sometimes the quiet moment after the words are spoken can be just as powerful as the words themselves. Silence gives the other person time to feel the meaning behind what you said. Authenticity transforms simple phrases into meaningful moments. Without it, words may sound pleasant, but quickly fade away. With it, even the simplest sentence can leave a lasting impression.
To understand how these ideas work in real life, imagine a simple situation. A man named David, who is in his late 50s, had spent several years feeling discouraged about dating. He considered himself a kind and thoughtful person, but he often felt invisible when meeting new people. Conversations were polite, but they rarely led to a deeper connection. One evening, he went on a casual dinner date. Instead of trying to impress his date with clever stories or compliments, he decided to communicate more honestly. Throughout the evening, their conversation flowed naturally. They talked about travel, family, and the small lessons life teaches over time. As the evening came to an end, David paused for a moment before speaking. Instead of saying something uncertain like, "Maybe we can do this again sometime," he chose his words more clearly. He said, "I want to see you again. I really appreciate how easy it is to talk with you." The words were simple, but they carried sincerity. Later, his date shared that this moment stood out to her more than anything else that evening. It was not because the sentence was dramatic or poetic. It was because it felt genuine. His words showed both clarity and appreciation at the same time. That small moment created a feeling of warmth and connection that stayed with her long after the evening ended. Sometimes the strongest impression does not come from grand gestures, but from a few honest words spoken with confidence and kindness. Behind every meaningful connection, there is an invisible but powerful element: emotional safety. When people interact with someone new, their mind is constantly evaluating subtle signals. This evaluation often happens quietly and almost automatically. Without even realizing it, a woman may ask herself questions like, "Is this person calm? Is he emotionally stable? Can I relax around him?" These questions are not always spoken out loud, but they influence how comfortable someone feels in a conversation. When a man expresses what he wants clearly and follows it with genuine appreciation, it sends a strong signal of emotional stability. It shows that he understands his own feelings and is able to communicate them in a respectful way. This kind of communication often creates a sense of calm rather than pressure. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional co-regulation. Human beings naturally adjust their emotional state based on the people around them. When one person remains calm, grounded, and present, the other person often begins to feel calmer as well. In relationships, this calm presence can be surprisingly attractive. As people grow older, many begin to value peace and emotional comfort more than excitement or unpredictability. A person who creates a relaxed atmosphere can become someone others naturally enjoy being around. This is why simple, honest communication can be so powerful. When someone feels both appreciated and emotionally safe, they are far more likely to open up and share their true thoughts and feelings. And that is where genuine connection truly begins. Even though meaningful communication can be simple, many men unknowingly make small mistakes that weaken the connection they are trying to build. One common mistake is trying too hard to impress. When someone feels pressured to prove themselves, their words may begin to sound forced or rehearsed. Instead of creating attraction, it can create distance because the interaction no longer feels natural. Another mistake is giving too many compliments without depth. Compliments that focus only on appearance can quickly lose their impact, especially if they are repeated often. Without genuine appreciation behind them, they may sound routine rather than meaningful. Some men also make the mistake of hiding their real desires. They may avoid saying what they want because they fear rejection or conflict. But when communication becomes vague or overly cautious, it becomes harder for the other person to understand their intentions. There is also the tendency to become overly agreeable, constantly saying yes to everything in order to avoid disagreement. While kindness is important, losing your own voice can make interactions feel unbalanced. Strong communication does not require complicated techniques. In many cases, the most powerful approach is also the simplest. Speak clearly about what you want and express sincere appreciation for the person in front of you.